Have you ever noticed how we glorify struggle? We start saying things like, nothing worth having comes easy, or no pain, no gain. You have to suffer to succeed. And somewhere along the way, many of us start believing that if life isn't hard, something must be wrong. If life feels peaceful, we question it. If something comes naturally, then we doubt it. If life feels calm, then we assume struggle is around the corner. But one of the biggest lies we have accepted about growth is that life has to be a constant battle. What if real life emotional development isn't about how much you can endure, but about how much you're willing to understand about yourself? Today, I want to talk about something we don't discuss enough. The way many of us have romanticized our own struggle, and how letting go of that mindset might be the first step to a fulfilling life. Somewhere along the way, struggle has become a badge of honor. We see it everywhere. In movies, the hero has to suffer to succeed. In motivational speeches, pain is proof that you're on the right path. Even on social media, people have glorified how painful their journey has been. And while struggle can really teach us things, we start to believe that struggle is the only way to get to our goal. We start to think that life feels overwhelming, exhausting, difficult. That must mean we're progressing. But difficulty doesn't always mean growth. Sometimes difficulty means that something's not aligned. Emotional development begins when we start to be able to tell the difference. So I want to hit on what the difference is between growth and struggle. Growth and struggle are not the same thing. Growth stretches you. It challenges your perspective and it pushes you to evolve. It asks you to become more aware of who you are. But struggle often looks a little different. Struggle can mean repeating the same painful patterns over and over and over, staying in environments that constantly drain your energy, ignoring the quiet voice in your head that tells you this isn't working. Growth may be a little difficult at times, but constant struggle usually signals something a little bit deeper. Sometimes it means that you're trying to force something that's just not for you. And here's how we're romanticizing our struggle and doing it and not even realizing it. We tell ourselves, if it's hard, it must be worth it. Or I just need to push through a little bit longer. Or this is just part of the journey. And sometimes it is, but other times we're not growing. We're simply enduring. We stay in relationships that leave us emotionally exhausted. And we stay in situations that constantly chip away at our peace. And we tell ourselves that the struggle will eventually lead to something meaningful. But emotionally, maturity teaches us something different. Not every difficult situation is meant to be endured. Some are just literally meant to be outgrown. So real emotional development does not come from proving how much you can tolerate. It comes from understanding yourself more deeply. It comes from asking honest questions. Why do I keep choosing situations that are draining me? Why do I believe that suffering makes something more valuable? Why do I feel uncomfortable when life is calm? When you start asking these questions, something starts to shift. You realize that growth doesn't always require chaos. A lot of times it's completely peaceful. And a lot of times it looks like walking away from something that just no longer serves you. Sometimes it looks like letting go of the idea that life must be difficult in order to be meaningful. You might be romanticizing struggle if you feel like life always needs to feel hard. You feel guilty when things are going well. You stay in situations long after they stop helping you grow. You believe suffering somehow makes you worthy. You confuse chaos with passion. These are patterns many of us learn over time. But once you become aware of them, you gain the ability to choose different. I want you to be able to recognize self-fulfillment. And it doesn't come from struggle. It comes from alignment, and it comes from understanding what matters to you and making the decision to support that. It comes from choosing a life that challenges you in healthy ways and does not continuously break you down. A fulfilling life still includes effort. It comes from learning and comes from changes, but it doesn't require endless suffering. Peace, stability, and clarity are not signs that something's missing. Sometimes that's signs that you are growing in the right direction. So if you've been telling yourself that life has to be difficult to be meaningful, maybe it's time to question that belief. Growth does not always have to come through struggle. Sometimes it comes from awareness, through honesty, choosing what aligns with who you're becoming. You don't have to prove your strength by how much you're suffering. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stop romanticizing the struggle and start choosing what really fulfills you. And if this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. What's one struggle you're learning to let go? Until next time, take care.